Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Thursday. Amanda Quintana in for Susan Simon, who's on vacation.
Yeah,
good to see you. You came back after yesterday. Didn't scare you off.
It's fun, so I'm back.
All right, we have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right to it.
Yes.
Here's what's making news. Madison officials warn any more rain could be disastrous for the downtown Isthmus area. Amy Reed will have a live report.
And we'll hear from the attorney for Wisconsin football player Quinton Cephas after his client makes a court appearance on sexual assault charges. Keely Arthur was in the courtroom today.
And as President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, makes a public appearance following his guilty plea earlier this week, the president questions the legality of his plea. Let's take a look outside. Another nice day today.
Yes,
we needed it. 2 in a row. Dry out a little bit. This is a Sky 3 shot of East Washington Avenue. Clear sailing for now, but another round of rain. That's the last thing we need. Dana Fulton is in the backyard weather patio. We don't need any more.
We definitely don't at all right now. And thankfully today, of course, still very dry outside, nice and sunny and pleasant. But we do unfortunately have another round on the way. And that's just not good news. Our Doppler track looks good, at least for the next few hours. As I mentioned, today has been quite pleasant outside. We are expecting to really see a nice sky through the rest of the evening. But as we get into tomorrow, look, this is just into Friday morning. Already starting to see a few sprinkles move into the area, and by tomorrow afternoon, we may see a few stronger showers, even thunderstorms possible. Temps are pretty comfortable. We're in the 70s again, so that's below average at about 75 in Madison. Throughout the Midwest, a pretty mellow day, but our dew points are starting to creep back up. Of course, that's indicative of all the moisture that's just starting to be shoved towards Wisconsin. Seeing a little higher dew points over towards Iowa. That cloud coverage also moving in our direction, so we are expecting to see that by the time we get into Friday. Showers expected through most of the day, scattered for us, so we may see some stronger storms in there. We do have an alert day for Friday. We'll go into that in a little more depth in just a few minutes. Right now, though, we do want to take a look at your first look traffic for the morning or for the evening. Right now in downtown, the main focus for us, of course, Johnson Street. That road closed because of water on the roads, both directions. They do have some detours set up, though, if you do have to try to get through downtown. Along the Beltline, it's crawling along currently, about 15 miles per hour if you're headed eastbound, 16 miles per hour, so you get to pick up just a little bit the further east you go. And then also just south of Verona, Highway 69 still closed because of that water on the road. So yes, rain not a good thing for us. But we do have some showers in the forecast for our Friday. Unfortunately, I hate to bring the bad news back in the forecast, but we're going to break down timing and how much is on the way, guys, in just a few minutes.
All right, the numbers are going to be very important this time around.
Yes.
All right, Dana, thank you. See you in a few minutes.
First up forward, the city of Madison is watching lake levels on Mendota very closely.
If water gets too high there, the whole isthmus could feel the impact. Amy Reed has been following the story on the east side. She joins us now to show us where we are starting to see water away from the lake's edge. Amy.
I'm on Mifflin and Livingston Streets. You can see this intersection is flooded and closed off. We're about a block back from East Washington, and the city said if it starts to look like this out there, they're prepared to close the whole thing down. This water all stems from Lake Mendota, which is near 100-year levels. Earlier today, the sheriff's office opened Tenney Dam to let some of that water through. Right now, they said that dam is holding, and there's not a serious concern that it will break since they are letting that water out. The city is staying focused on the isthmus, and not just near the Yahara River, but in these low-lying areas too, where the infrastructure was just not designed to handle this much water.
It's important to understand that it's all connected by storm sewers. The same storm sewers that are draining these areas are actually letting water into these areas that are meant to be drained by the storm sewers. It's all connected.
The city has some traffic plans in place. If they need to close East Washington, they would divert traffic to Willie Street. They said give yourself extra time to get to the east side, including the airport. Also important to note, the city engineer you just heard from said this amount of water is unprecedented and should be taken seriously. They're also concerned about rain showers that are possible tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, Amy Reed in downtown Madison, where the water is rising. Thank you.
Governor Walker visited a shelter set up at Mazomani's grade school this morning. He declared a state of emergency for Dane County yesterday. He says the people impacted by the flooding will get help from the county and state, but it's still unclear if the federal government will help, saying the threshold for FEMA assistance is high. He said he met with people who have never experienced flooding at this current level, including those at the shoebox store in Black Earth.
Talked to the owner. Talked to both of his daughters, to his employees. You can, literally see and feel the trembling because this is just overwhelming. This is daunting. And so from that standpoint, it's just giving a reassurance, hey, you're going to get through this. There's not only are we going to help, there's plenty of other people going to help.
Walker says the state will be collecting information from people who have personal damage in their homes or personally to help apply for FEMA funding. Suspended UW football player Quintez Cephas appeared in court today.
He is charged with 2 counts of sexual assault, and Keely Arthur was in court today and shares why his lawyers say he's innocent.
Well, it's a big change for Quintez Cephas. The UW wide receiver was set to play in the Badgers opening game just a little over a week away. Instead, today he is in court facing felony charges. In court, a judge ordered a $5,000 signature bond for Cephas and told him that he is not allowed to have contact with the alleged victims. This week, Cephas was charged with 1 count of second-degree sexual assault and 1 count of third-degree sexual assault because of an incident police say happened in April. About a dozen or so people came to support him, including his former high school coach in Georgia.
He's a part of our family. He's a son to me. He's a brother to the 3 daughters that me and my wife have. And he's a great young man. And I can't wait for all the facts to come out so that he can be exonerated.
The defense filed a motion to have the second-degree sexual assault charge dismissed because they say the woman in that charge was not intoxicated to the point of being unable to provide consent. And we did reach out to the Dane County District Attorney's Office to get an interview. They declined that.
All right, Keely, thank you.
Thanks.
A juror in Paul Manafort's financial fraud trial says a lone holdout prevented the jury from convicting the one-time Trump campaign chairman on all 18 counts. The jury says jurors repeatedly tried to persuade the holdout to look at the paper trail, but she insisted there was reasonable doubt. The jury on Tuesday found Manafort guilty on 8 counts. The judge declared a mistrial on the 10 counts the jury was deadlocked on.
Cohen made a public appearance after the president suggests making a plea deal and cooperating in an investigation ought to be illegal. Angelica Alvarez has the latest from the White House.
President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, was out and about on the streets of Manhattan 2 days after his guilty plea.
Where are we going? For a long walk.
In his plea deal, Cohen claimed under oath Mr. Trump directed him to influence the 2016 election by paying 2 women to stay quiet about alleged affairs.
Campaign violations are considered not a big deal, frankly.
In an interview with Fox and Friends, the president accused Cohen of making things up to reduce his sentence.
It's called flipping, and it almost ought to be illegal.
In the interview, the president also expressed respect for his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, who did not cooperate with the government. Manafort was convicted on 8 counts of bank and tax fraud. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle said pardoning Manafort would be a mistake.
Pardon in this case would, I think, be viewed by a lot of people as self-serving to the president.
A pardon would ignite a constitutional conflagration.
President Trump is also getting pushback for his renewed criticism of Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who recused himself from the Russia investigation.
I put an attorney general that never took control of the Justice Department.
Sessions shot back in a statement Thursday, saying, "I took control of the Department of Justice the day I was sworn in, which is why we have had unprecedented success at effectuating the president's agenda." Angelica Alvarez for WISC News 3.
Some Republican lawmakers say firing Sessions would be a mistake, but others say it may happen after the midterm elections.
And those legal troubles surrounding former associates of President Donald Trump have spilled into the fight over his Supreme Court pick. As the president's Supreme Court nominee makes his rounds on the Hill, some Democrats canceled their meetings with Judge Brett Kavanaugh, saying his nomination has been tainted by the legal storm surrounding President Trump. If confirmed, Kavanaugh may have a role in determining the legal fate of the president who nominated him. Democrats' Dick Durbin says the Senate Judiciary Committee still needs to see nearly 3 years' worth of documents from Kavanaugh's work in the Bush White House.
I think it should be postponed at least until this documentation is produced.
So far, I believe the only senators who've met with this nominee and then had negative things to say about him were Democrats who'd already announced beforehand they were going to oppose him.
The hearings on Judge Kavanaugh's nomination are scheduled to begin the day after Labor Day, September 4th.
There's more to come at 4. The residents of Hawaii are bracing for a major hurricane.
We'll have the latest on the path of Hurricane Lane when Live at 4 continues. Category 4 Hurricane Lane is barreling toward Hawaii.
Torrential rain is already hitting Hawaii's Big Island. The slow-moving system is expected to bring catastrophic flooding, huge waves, and powerful winds to Hawaii. Satellite images taken from space show the massive storm churning in the Pacific Ocean. Residents stocked up on supplies, clearing out grocery stores ahead of that storm. It has been a summer of destruction on Hawaii's Big Island, where the Kilauea volcano destroyed more than 700 homes since May.
System is really setting up to be a significant rain event, torrential rains. Forecasters are predicting over 30 inches in some parts.
President Trump issued a disaster declaration to provide support for Hawaii. If the storm makes landfall, it would be the first to do so in 26 years.
The Wall Street Journal reports more employees are getting a promotion without a pay raise. A recent survey found the number of employees doing this increased by 17% since 2011. Some say they only give out pay raises once a year or for specific job titles. Other employers reportedly say they make small changes in millennials' job titles to satisfy their craving for feedback. Stocks closed broadly lower on Wall Street as the trade spat with China escalates. The Dow Industrials lost 76 points, closing at 25,656. The Nasdaq Composite Index dropped 10.5, and the S&P 500 fell 4. Well, this week's record-setting rain in Dane County caused immediate flooding in Middleton, Cross Plains, Black Earth, Mazomanie.
Now Madison's isthmus is feeling the effects of all that water draining into the Yahara watershed, which includes Madison's lakes. This is no surprise to UW-Madison Emeritus Professor Ken Potter, who is an expert on flooding and stormwater management. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
You look back at the big storm of 2008 up in Sauk County that eventually drained Lake Delton. 14 inches of rain over 3 days. What did you find there?
Well, what we did was to take that storm, take the data from that storm, and then we moved it to see what would have happened had it rained on the Yahara Lakes watershed. And what we found was that there would have been something worse than what we're seeing right now, much worse. So that storm would have caused catastrophic damage.
Why would it have been worse? Because it was over a longer period of time?
This storm isn't over yet,
right.
but it was a big storm, and it would have they would have had to make decisions about what to do with the dam and how much to release, and so a lot depends on the time of the year and so on. But it would have been very bad. It's pretty bad now. Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of storm, however, and one really interesting thing is that most storms in my 40 years here have come from Iowa, basically, from the west. This storm came up from the south. It was much smaller than most storms in size, but not necessarily in the amount of water, and it moved very, very slowly.
Sort of parked over the same
spot.
And
that's unusual, and the fact that it stayed in the same place is unusual. And I'm no expert on climate change, though I've read a lot. I don't actively work in that, but there's a very good likelihood that this is a result of things going on in terms of temperature in the atmosphere.
So we're expecting more rain. How bad could this get? How can it change things?
Well, I don't want to forecast doom. I'm hoping that we'll be able to handle it. But there are a lot of scenarios here. One important thing to keep in mind is that the lakes drain very, very slowly. From Monona to the outlet of Kaganza and even further down the Yahara River, there's a very, very slight slope there. And so it's very hard to get water out of the system. And so it could get very bad. And the fact that we've had to release water from Mendota into Monona is going to be a real problem there.
And the situation is happening because we're overdevelopment, part of it?
It's a combination. And I think the important thing about development is that as everybody knows, water runs off the roof and off the concrete, and that's great. We want that to happen, okay? But on a typical soil in Dane County that's in farmland, if we have 33 inches of rain in a year, only 3 inches are going to run off.
Wow.
Only 3. 1/10 of the amount of rainfall will run off. And now on a rooftop or concrete, 98% runs off. So.
And it runs off into the storm sewer?
Right.
And that runs into the lakes.
Correct. Now, we haven't developed a very large percentage of the Mendota watershed yet, but we are having an impact, and that impact is visible. Lake levels have been rising. The amount of water going into the lake's been increasing. But if we keep developing without controlling that runoff, it could get very, very bad. And if you couple that with climate change possibilities, then we're in real trouble. So it's not too late. I think we can start doing things. But I think we have to improve our stormwater ordinance.
And right now, it's not strong enough, in your opinion?
Right now, stormwater management right now is hindered by the fact that just recently the legislature prohibited municipalities from getting full control of volume, of the volume of runoff. And municipalities, some had already been doing that, and they've been now prohibited. I chaired a committee that made the recommendation that the entire county get 100% control of that volume, and along with mechanisms to make it cost effective. And that the legislature, a couple lines in the legislation prohibited anybody from exceeding the DNR standard. And the irony is that the DNR standard is for water quality. It's not for water quantity. In fact, stormwater management for water quantity precedes the DNR's rules.
And this is a very unusual circumstance. This is a once in 100-year storm, what we had this week. But you think it's going to continue to get worse?
Well, I think we will. The thing about 1 in 100-year storms is that they can happen in different places, different parts of the watershed, and so on and so forth. So yes, it's certainly not going to get better. I think all the evidence from the climate scientists is that it's going to get worse simply because warmer temperatures can hold more water. But if the pattern of the storms is changing so that they're slower, then it's going to be even worse.
All right. Well, fingers crossed for the next few days at least.
Yes, I hope people come through this.
Yeah, we all do. Professor, thanks for being with us today. Great
pleasure.
information. Still to come at 4, we'll find out what's happening in the 608 this weekend.
Including a very colorful and bright exhibit at Olbert Gardens. We'll preview Gleam when Live at 4 continues.
Take a look at this. 27-year-old Duncan Evans from Wales shared a video on Instagram showing him putting on a suit and shoes. Boom. Less than 10 seconds. With the help of some video editing trickery, the illusion created by taking 2 shots with and without the suit and then used jump cuts. It took him 10 hours to produce that.
I like to
looks
think
really
he
good.
did it without editing. that really happened.
What we want to
That'd
believe.
be a little time-saving measure in the morning, wouldn't it?
Yes, I definitely think it would help. It'd be good.
Well, it is Thursday, August 23rd, and it is Hug Your Sweetheart Day.
And your sweetheart is here, visiting for
He
you.
is. So I get a big bear hug after the show.
Okay,
we'll make
good.
that happen. It's also Ride the Wind Day, which just means to enjoy the summer while you can. We got a little longer left.
And it's National Sponge Cake Day. One of the trickiest cakes, apparently, for bakers to master. It's believed to be the first non-yeasted cake. What does that mean? Make it without yeast, I guess?
It doesn't rise.
It originated in the Caribbean. First recipe appeared in 1615.
Man, and I think the strawberries make it so much
That's
better.
exactly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Perfect. And they're fun size,
They are
too.
fun size.
Oh, yeah.
You might want to wait till after the 4th.
Right.
We've learned you can't really talk and eat.
My luck, it would just end up all over my
Now
dress.
strawberry
There'd be
all
strawberry
over.
in my hair.
Whoa.
And it would be very distracting.
In your hair.
You never know.
That's aggressive eating.
Exactly. Well, it's sponge cake. It's worth it, right?
It is.
All right, guys, we do have a clear sky right now. Unfortunately, though, we are going to be talking about some rain. We'll be taking a closer look right after the break. We're certainly at the point where we don't need any more rain, but I hate to be the bearer of bad news here. We do have more rain in the forecast. Right now, we're nice and clear, so as you're looking through the next few hours for your evening plans for your Thursday, all good to go throughout Wisconsin, really seeing a pretty pleasant end to the day. As we take a little closer look to home, overall things are looking okay for us throughout the state. Should be a really smooth evening as you're heading on out the door anywhere in the Madison area. So do keep that in mind as you're heading on out later on this afternoon. Again, nice and clear for us. The problem, though, as we bounce into Friday, That's when we're going to expect the rain to start to creep on in. As we get into early Friday morning, for those of us, if you're like me, if you have a dog, if you're waking up early, let the dog out, or trying to get a jog in really quick, we will have a few sprinkles, especially on the western side of the state. But by Friday afternoon and evening, our rainfall totals climb yet again. Usually when we're talking anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rain, even up to isolated areas of 1.5 to 2 inches, wouldn't be a huge factor. But because of all of the rain we've already seen this week, we have issued an alert day for Friday. So please keep that in mind also with your Friday plans. Showers, a few thunderstorms certainly possible. We may see some isolated heavy rain spots and maybe even some severe thunderstorms for us. This is all thanks to a trough just draped through the plains right now, continuing to push east and driving a lot of moisture in our direction. The primary focus for that severe threat still at the edge of Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois. That's where they are under a slight risk. It stretches right into the very tip of southern Wisconsin, but we still have a marginal risk all the way into western Dane County and towards Madison. The main threat for tomorrow, of course, the chance for a few isolated hail spots, but our concern is the rain. We just don't need any more. Timing for this, temperatures stay in the 70s for a little longer. Overnight, the clouds build in. By tomorrow morning, we have some heavy showers, and we are expecting to see scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the afternoon and even into the evening. Everything dies down, though, as it shifts west to east. So we are going to see higher accumulation totals for the western side of the state and then a less amount for the eastern side of the state. These showers do linger into Saturday morning as well, and then we finally dry up throughout the day on Saturday. We'll get another break, see a little bit of sunshine, help just suck all that moisture out of here for us before we get into next week. And then pattern's going to pick back up. Our drought status right now, totally in the clear for most of southern Wisconsin. The further north you go, a little drier it gets. We're doing pretty good again on that drought status because of all the rain we've seen already this month. We should be sitting a little closer to about 4 1/4 of an inch for our average for August, but we've already seen almost 8.5 inches of rain. Of course, that includes all the rain that we did see on Monday, and we are looking into next week with a chance for showers lingering. Temperatures today reach the mid-70s in Madison. Overall, right now, we do have a mostly clear sky. Our Edgewater cam just kind of showing that off for us. We hit a high of 76 this afternoon. That is a little below average, but not too bad of an afternoon for us. And that's really where we're still going to be sitting for a little longer in the mid to low 70s with a south-southwest breeze, about 10 miles per hour. So enough of a breeze, you'll notice it. Overnight, we fall into the low 60s. Tomorrow, temperatures climb into the low 70s under mostly cloudy sky with that shower and thunderstorm chance and just building back in. So do plan on a stormy Friday with that alert day in place. Showers pick back up for us as we move into the start of next week as well. Temps warm up as well. After we get through that alert day, we're done with the low 70s. We bounce above average, and we are in the upper 80s to start off the next work week. Slowly wrapping up August and heading into September.
That is hard to believe. It is almost September already.
I know. Wow.
All right, fingers crossed for the low end on those rain totals.
That's what we're really hoping for, guys. If we can stay towards that low end of an inch, that would be best for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thanks.
It is the weekend in the 608.
And here with a look at what's going on in the area is Sammy Gibbons from Madison Magazine. This is your first 608 appearance. Welcome.
It is. Thanks for having me.
So, lots going on this weekend, including a very popular festival on Madison's East Side.
Yep, the Orton Park Festival starts tonight with probably their biggest attraction. It's the Cyclopia aerial dance troupe. They're coming, they're stringing their silks from a big oak tree and will be performing for all the families that typically come. It's going on at the same time as the pizza and ice cream social, so there's little bites too. And there's also a stacked lineup for live music throughout the weekend, starting on Friday all the way through Saturday and Sunday.
And whether rain or shine, but if there's flooding, check out their Facebook page.
Check out the Facebook page, yes. But they're going to try their best.
They're going to update things there if they need to.
All right. And a quieter alternative for classical music.
Yes, for those people looking for a more intimate space, there's the Token Creek Chamber Festival. There's smaller ensembles of classical music going on throughout Saturday and Sunday. This is the 29th year of this festival, and it's been put on by the same husband and wife duo. He's a pianist and she's a violinist. So, and they have it in their refurbished barn near DeForest. So apparently it's a really beautiful scene. So yeah, that's going on for the next 3 weekends as well. So if this weekend doesn't work out, maybe because of flooding or what have you, there's other times to catch them.
Yeah, it's a very popular event.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how about something for the kids?
Yes, The Lion King Jr. is coming up. So there's been the big Broadway Lion King, but this one is the tiny version. The junior version, yes. What a better word for it. So there's 2nd through 8th grade actors all on the stage in tiger costumes, cheetah costumes, of course lions, all of that, put on by the Cambridge Deerfield Players Theater at the Cambridge Historic School. So yeah, kids could maybe get inspired to join the theater troupe themselves, little youngsters on the stage.
Get them young.
Yeah.
All right.
And an art installation opening. That's Saturday?
Correct. Yes, Saturday. Gleam is coming back to Old Brick Botanical Gardens. So Gleam Art in the New Light is what it's called. So it's lighting designers and artists from across the world come, also from locally and the country. They come and there's beautiful lights all over the garden and people can take a stroll through them. They recommend about an hour for the tour. And that's going on until September 29th. It'll close for a few days, but it'll come back and be going on for about another month. So there's plenty of opportunities to see the lights there.
That is very, really very cool. Yeah, you should check that out.
Yeah.
All right, lots going on.
Lots to pick from.
Sammy, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Have some strawberry shortcake.
I know, it's very good.
All right, enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Get this month's Madison magazine for all the best in the Madison area.
And if you have youngsters in the house, you probably know about slime.
The good kind of slime.
Slime is all the rage with kids right now. It's creating big bucks, and not just for big businesses and toy companies. I'm Chris Martinez with who's capitalizing on the popularity of slime.
Here's a live look at the UW Memorial Union Terrace. Water levels very high there as well. You can see that up on the wall there. Well, slime is all the rage with kids right now, and it's become a big business.
As Chris Martinez shows us, toy companies aren't the only ones cashing in.
So
You know when it's ready when it starts to unstick like this from the bowl?
From her Riverside, California home, Karina Garcia runs a multi-million-dollar slime empire.
Some people call me Slime Queen and some people call me Slime Girl.
The name is well-earned.
Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a slime challenge.
Garcia's YouTube channel has nearly 8 million followers, and her at-home slime kits are now flying off store shelves.
I think that's why kids like it, because it's like a little science experiment. They can make it at home, and it's so easy.
Slime is a combination of glue and an activator found in most laundry detergents. It's been around since the 70s, but social media has made the sticky substance more popular than ever, creating online stars.
So you just mix it with your hands, and it feels so good.
And helping homegrown slime businesses thrive. 15-year-old Samantha Zumwalt makes slime in her parents' home and expects to sell $500,000 worth this year.
The first month I got 1 order, and then the next month I got like 3 to 5 orders.
She now ships out up to 50 orders a day.
Slime is here to stay.
Lori Shack from the Toy Insider says many toy companies are also trying to cash in, offering different colors, scents, and textures.
Kids love to play with it. They love to make it. Parents approve of it. So once we have that stamp of approval, because kids are learning and mixing, you're going to see slime around for quite a long time.
She says even more slime products will be hitting the market in the months ahead as the popularity of the gooey stuff continues to grow. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Riverside, California.
You into slime?
Yet another thing I didn't know was a thing.
Slime is here to stay.
Apparently, slime is here to stay. Well, still to come at 4, and they're off. Governor Scott Walker against State School Superintendent Tony Evers in the race for the state's next governor.
And the race is started at a dead heat. We'll have the latest numbers from the Marquette Law School poll with Charles Franklin when Live at 4 continues.
have some good news and a little bit of bad news when we're taking a look at our traffic. I know I've been delivering a lot of bad news so far this afternoon. If we take a quick peek downtown near Johnson Street right now, both directions are closed because of water on the roadway. We're still dealing with some flooding there on the isthmus. There are some detours that are set up to get around that street, but do know if you're trying to travel in that direction, both directions are closed at this time. Just south of Verona, Highway 69 still closed right now. Again, both directions closed in that direction right now. And in the Middleton out to Spring Green, here's my good news. It's now open. It was closed yesterday, now reopened for us just of this afternoon. So if you are heading out 14, that's looking pretty good for us right now. Overall travel times, if you're traveling from John Nolan anywhere to I-39 or 90, travel's been reduced quite a bit down to about 7 minutes. And then John Nolan to Verona Road, that's 6 minutes. Folks traveling at about 44 miles per hour. That's a quick look at your first look traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. And speaking of traffic, do not try this. A man was spotted on a motorcycle steering the bike with his feet at full speed in Jacksonville, Florida. The woman who took the video said the rider passed right by her. She was going 60 miles an hour.
And does he have shoes on?
No, he's barefoot.
And no shirt.
That's an easy rider.
Interesting.
A Florida man, indeed. Well, following last week's primaries, we now know who the candidates will be in November's midterm elections.
And according to the latest poll from the Marquette Law School, it's going to be a close race. The poll director, Charles Franklin, joins us to talk about these released numbers. They were released yesterday, but when did the poll actually happen?
We were in the field from Wednesday, the day after the primary, through Sunday night, so immediately after the primary.
And this is tight. As Dan Rather say, tick tight.
Yes, there are a lot of stories you could say about Dan Rather and adjectives, but 46-46 in the governor's race, so
for likely voters. Very
tight for likely voters. 49-47 in the Senate race. Hopefully I said that right. For Baldwin, a little bit ahead by 2. The one thing that's different is in June when we asked about this, Walker was ahead by 4 and Baldwin was ahead by 9, but those were with registered voters. If we look at the registered this time, Walker's up by 2 and Baldwin's up by 8. So a little bit of tightening with the same apples to apples, registered to registered comparison, but the governor's race clearly tighter. The Senate race not so close with registered, but shift to likely, who are more involved, more interested, probably know more about the candidates, and you see both races tighten.
Did either candidate get a boost from the primary election? Because they're much more visible than the incumbents.
Absolutely. They did get boosts. One is they're now better known than they were before the primary. We had seen over 60% that didn't know either of those, Evers or Vukmir. Now those are down in the 30s with likely voters. So people are learning. They've still got a ways to go, but they're learning a good bit about them. You know, this boost from 4 down to tied or 8 down to down 2 is a good example of tightening, but it's not a huge bounce. It's not either one of them bouncing up 10 points or 5 points or something.
And not very many undecided.
That's really interesting. Now, we are asking people, if you're undecided, who do you lean to? So that lowers the undecided a little bit. But honestly, it's only a 1 or 2 or 3% that say undecided that we then ask how they lean. So the governor's running for a 3rd term. Senator Baldwin's running for a re-election. You still might expect a little more undecided, but not in this month's data.
And this certainly is, we have months to go, and back in 2014, Mary Burke was almost at the same place that Tony Evers is now.
It's exactly right. Think of this as the snapshot, just as they come out of the opening gate. Where did they start this campaign? And now let's watch week by week up to Election Day or month by month, how the race trends. In 14, we were tied at this point, and then a little bit of a Walker lead and a little bit more, and finally right at about the 6% that he won by. But that's where we had a steady trend. We don't always have steady trends either.
Do you think the president is going to have any effect on these races?
You know, it's an interesting question. He's at 45 approve, 51 or 2 disapprove right now in our data. So he's not hugely unpopular, and 87% of Republicans approve of the job he's doing. But independents are net negative. So that's the dynamic there. But you have incumbents of both parties who are going to be really stimulating their voters and trying to get them out. Here, that may mitigate a little bit some of the national forces that if you were in a state with only congressional races or only a race by one party's top of the ticket candidate, maybe the president would play a little bigger role. And of course, issues could come up between now and November that just might influence the races.
A lot of things can happen.
Well.
A candidate can stumble.
Yep. We have a lot to stay tuned to see how these candidates shape up their campaigns.
We looked at the top two races. Anything else that deep down in the poll that kind of stood out?
Well, we asked about schools and whether people think schools are in better, the same, or worse shape. 15 better, 35 same, 44 worse. So that's a bit of a problem. You've got two candidates for governor, both essentially claiming to be the education governor, but people's views of schools are not that positive right now. And also on prisons, has Walker done enough to deal with the abuse accusations at Lincoln Hills Juvenile Prison? 12% enough, 36% not enough, and 49% say they haven't heard enough about the issues there to have an opinion.
And you also asked about marijuana?
We did. It's 61% approve. That was 59% approve 2 years ago in June of 2016. We ask it as, should it be fully legalized and regulated like alcohol? And I think that reflects the kind of policy choices that places like Colorado have adopted, as opposed to just, should it be legal, period, without any qualification. So that may boost support just a little bit, but a tick up from 59 to 61 since 2016.
Should be an interesting fall.
Much to watch.
All right. We will see you soon, Charles.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast. And Dana's back, and as we've been talking, more rain on the way.
It is. We would like to stay dry. Of course, the last 2 days we've stayed nice and dry. Currently, things look great for us. But as we fast forward into tomorrow morning, this is just a quick look. By the time you get into work for Friday, we are already expecting to see a few showers and sprinkles throughout much of southwest Wisconsin. And throughout the day, we do have the chance for some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms in the forecast. That extends into the afternoon and overnight into early Saturday morning. So we do have an alert day for Friday. Because of that rain threat, we're watching our models kind of jump up a little bit, which is bad news. Could see up to 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Isolated areas may get just a little more than that. And at this point, we don't need any more rain.
We don't need a drop.
No, not at all. So we'll be keeping an eye on things tomorrow, of course, as you're heading out for your Friday, or if you have any late evening plans. It's a great day to stay weather aware because things could get a little dicey later.
Download the weather app if you don't have it.
Absolutely.
All right, Dana, thank you. And coming up tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll preview the new movie, the new robot dog movie, let's be specific, Axel, which hits theaters this weekend.
And speaking of dogs, Lola and Louie have all the best animal stories of the week in Lola's Lowdown.